Thanks for tuning in. There's another topic I'd like to go over tonight, and it's remembering your power and not letting people take that away from you and not uh, giving it away. In a lot of situations, people are convinced that they can't do anything about it and they can't control this, can't control that, and they're freaking out because they don't know what's going to happen, blah, blah. That's not the right attitude. Your life is up to you a lot more than you think it is, and it's not necessarily your fault. It's what we've been taught. We've been taught, especially by people on TV, that well, shit happens, and or my favorite one that older people will say, oh well, that's just how it is. No, that's not just how it is. It's horse shit. You know, People, especially my generation, I'm 34. We're not, we didn't come up in a time where you could trust the system and trust what you were told and trust the routine and just invest and just work hard and no, 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 no. It's just, you don't get shit back for that these days. Our generation got bamboozled. We have been hoodwinked, and you can't just follow the rules and get rewarded. That's not how it works anymore. So these days, when your power, when something happens that isn't what you wanted or is working against you, you can't give your power away by worrying about it and stuff like that, even though that's what we do. But we know these days that things don't work out because people don't play by the rules and shit like that, and you have to put your foot down sometimes, and sometimes you just have to be an asshole and take control of the situation and or protect yourself however you have to do that. So I thought I would go over some of those ideas because a lot of people really feel like they can't do anything about something, and that's not true. You have more power in the situation than you can imagine. It's just that you let all these other idiots convince you that well, these are the rules, it's going to be this. Well, I don't know about that. So one example is when something goes wrong and you take it as a catastrophe instead of an opportunity to do something else. Like you get fired, or, well, no, that's a good one. Let's go with that. Okay, you get fired. Um, did you really like that job? Is question number one. Did you really like that job? Is that the job you really wanted to do? Was there something else you want to do more than that you really have your heart set on that you haven't, taken an opportunity to devote yourself to yet? A lot of people think, well, oh, shit, I got fired and I got to find another job. Damn, what am I going to do? I need money. And they start worrying. That's not what that is. When something is removed from your life, all that is, it's a situation where there's a space being made, a void that's being created to fill it in with something else that's more in line with what you need. And that's all that is. You get fired. Next, all right, your next word out of your mouth after they say, well, this is going to result in your termination. Next, and go on to the next thing. It's not, there is no catastrophe. There is no catastrophe. It's just making room for you to do the next job you're supposed to be doing, for no matter what that is. If there's some business you've been wanting to start, if there's something some friend of yours had offered you and you were just going to keep it in the back of your mind and you weren't sure yet, well, now's the time. So don't take being fired as some big bad thing that's happening that you're not going to be able to handle. Well, no, it's just making space for the next thing. That's all. That's how energy in the universe works. It's constantly in motion, constantly, moving on to the next thing. You don't want stagnation all the time, trust me. Some shit has to change. And, especially if you've been thinking for months or years on end, man, when I finish this job, I'm going to move on to such and such, which is what I really want to do. I just haven't started it yet. Well, guess what? You're starting it now. So, that's what that means. So just because something goes away, or a person, you break up, you divorce, whatever. Yeah, emperors, yeah, see what I mean? So, you lose somebody, you lose a friend, you lose a boyfriend, whatever, and same mentality. All right, next, come on up, step right up. What's your story? That's it. So don't work yourself into a lather of that stuff. Um, the school tells you that the kid isn't allowed to blah 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 something or other, or they're changing something and it's not going to be good for your child. Because of whatever their physical health, mental health, what have you, and you're freaking out because the kid's going to suffer. First of all, check the laws in your state and see what the deal is about exemptions, etc., for whatever the situation is. Medical exemptions, religious exemptions. You can almost always use a religious example. What's the fucking word I just said? Exemption. You can always use a religious exemption for just about anything with the school. They can't argue with you about that. Not even Virginia. Because I used to live there and I know how awful they are. So, don't, or if somebody's arguing with you, or you think somebody's trying to compete with you or whatever, that person, they can't take your power away. They can't take your powers. To hell with that. Remember that you are, and I know people are saying this a lot, but I really do genuinely believe this, that you really do come from the divine, and you really do come from the greatest source, in creation, and that you have a spark of that within you that lights up every time you remember it. And that being the case, none of these clowns out here can really take that away from you. That's not something somebody else can squash. Not some damn manager, not some bitch at work who's running her mouth because she thinks she's untouchable. Not some clown at the school, getting paid to argue with you. Nobody can take that from you. So when a situation comes up, this is what I do. This takes a lot of mental work, but this is what I do. If a situation comes up that seems like it's about to not work in my favor, instead of freaking out, which is what I used to do, because I used to work myself into a rich lather over shit that I thought I couldn't control. And we'll get to the part about not being able to control it too. I'll get to that, because that's a different thing. But if it's something that you think you can control, this is how I do it. When it starts to happen, especially people at work or whatever, I think to myself, nah, I'm going to take control of this. And I'm going to get what I want out of this. This is not going to hurt me. This is not going to control me or mess me up. This situation is not going to drain me. It's not going to take my power. This isn't going to hurt me. And it could be somebody running their mouth, somebody trying to take money from you, or they have, this all starts in your mind. The power and the control, it starts in your mind. It's all in your head. You tell yourself, when that starts to happen, you tell yourself, this situation is going to end in my favor come hell or glory. I'm going to get what I want out of this. That's it. That's the only way this is going to go. And I know that sounds weird. I know it's going to sound weird for a lot of y'all who are humble and, aren't used to being pushy and things like that. But when it comes to survival, and when it comes to, getting what you need in life, it probably sounds conniving to a lot of people, but honestly, this is how I've gotten things. Especially people who I knew were trying to take advantage of me. This is when it works perfectly, because they're doing something wrongly, and they're in the wrong, and they're coming from the wrong place. They're coming from a place of fear, which is why they're trying to conquer so much. Which is why they're trying to take advantage of you, because they're afraid of something. They're afraid of your power, or they're afraid of losing, or whatever. And they're on the wrong vibe anyway. So regardless, they're going to lose in the end, no matter what. You, being the more pure one, being the more mature one, being the more aligned and more, humble and gracious and kind, you're going to come out on top anyway. But it helps to just think to yourself, nah, you're not going to do this to me. You're not going to take my power from me. That's bullshit. And you tell yourself that you were going to come out on top regardless. And I do that with a lot of things. I do that with anything that seems like it's not about to work out my favor. Getting a refund about something that, let's say the bank takes away, or somebody does a transaction they weren't supposed to do. They had your card, some subscription or something, and it wasn't supposed to happen. And you'll, like, Google pulled this on me about a week ago. They took some money for something that I forgot I had, to be honest. And I was like, it was BritBox. And I love BritBox, but I watched like everything on there, and then that was it. And then I ran out of stuff to look at. So I was like, So I forgot I had that damn subscription. And Google took their yearly payment of $76 about a week ago. And I was like, So I went through Google and was like, hey, you going to refund me that? Because I didn't know I still had that with y'all. I thought I'd canceled it, and I forgot. And I told them that, and they were like, all right, give us 48 hours. And they emailed me back and said, well, your refund request isn't in line with our policy or whatever, so sorry. And with something like that, a lot of people would have given up and been like, oh, well, fuck, all right. And they would have lost that $76. I, on the other hand, am an asshole, and I'm going to pursue something until I get it. And this is a real good-ass example of that. I wanted that money back. I did. So I saw that Google wasn't going to help me. I said, all right, we'll see. I called the bank, and she was like, well, the transaction is still pending, so I can't touch it yet. It's got to go through all the way, and then we can fool with it. And I was like, all right. She said, call back tomorrow morning. It should be done by then, and we'll just do a fraud thing. It's whatever. And I said, all right. And I knew she was telling the truth because I've done that before, and the bank almost always gets you your money back. I've never had them not give me my money back for something. So I said, okay. And and then the next morning I was doing a lot of stuff, and I was trying to clean and everything else, and I had a lot of stuff to do, and I thought, man, I don't want to get on the phone right now. I just don't feel like it. So I went on the bank website, and I was just about to do the fraud thing, like submit a claim or whatever. I thought, I wonder if I could check the Google website one more time. And for some reason, I was compelled to go back to the Google thing, the BritBox thing, and I did. And I was on some page on there, and within Google in my account, and there was a chat thing where you can click on it and talk to them live. Talk to somebody. I thought, I'm going to give this a try. Because I was determined to get that damn $76 back. And I chatted with somebody, and I said, look, I just need the refund. I didn't even give a explanation this time. I just said, I need that refunded. And whoever I was talking to did it like that, and got me the money back, and gave me the confirmation number and everything else. And it was no big deal. It was like, boom. He didn't even argue with me. And I got that back. And I thought, oh, okay. I said, well, thanks. And it was over with. And then a couple days later, I went back and checked, and the bank had it to where the transaction never even happened. So, and everything was in there like it was supposed to be. And I was like, all right. So I just mean, when little things like that happen, or big things, I guess, because to some people that would be a big thing. When that happens, don't work yourself into a lather. That's not going to help you. Just tell yourself, I'm going to very calmly and with determination take control of this situation. Period. That's it. End of. And that's it. That's your mentality every time something starts to go the other way. Just have that mentality and just work the problem until you get what you want. If somebody's trying to take advantage of you, solve that shit. If it's hurting you, fix it, address it. Because there's getting down to business and sorting it out versus wringing your hands. What's it going to be? So that's just one example. What else? Somebody's giving you a hard time. Sit down with that tell that person, like, I've had this problem with coworkers, especially women. Oh my God, women. Woo, y'all put me through some shit. But there was a time when I had a real bad problem with a woman coworker who was much older than me, who really had no damn business feeling threatened by my presence. But she gave me hell after a certain point. I'll get to that some other time. But she gave me hell at one point, and um I'm more mature than she is, apparently, a 60-year-old. And I went to her office and sat down with her and I said, listen, what's on your mind? Because damn it, I was willing to get to the bottom of it. I don't let shit slide. If you've got a fucking problem, we're both over the age of 14. Let's sort it out. If it's that damn bad, speak up. Because you're obviously upset. But nobody wants to fucking do that now because everybody's such a damn pansy, you can't get anybody to say anything about what's wrong anymore. So I sat down with her. I must have been in her office for 30 damn minutes. I wish to God at this, to this day, I wish I'd recorded that conversation because, like, it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe the shit she said. But I kept trying to ask her real simple questions about what was wrong, and she could not give me a real answer for any of that shit. And I just thought, you know what? I just thought, what is your deal? What is your deal? And then finally, I let it go. And we didn't talk for like the following 6 months I was at that job. And then finally I left. I was like, all right, I'm moving on to something else. But, that woman, she, by doing the way she did, by her behavior being what it was, and choosing to be that way, she let me take her power. Because she got so damned upset. See, there was one man there who took pity on me one day and bought me lunch. And because he knew I was poor and hungry, I was. And he felt bad for me and he bought me lunch. Well, she came in to work that day when she was off that day. She came in like a bat out of hell, and she usually did because she was a workaholic. And she saw me and him sitting down eating. And let me tell you, after that, now I was 30 or 31. I was probably about 30. And she was like in her 60s. This woman acted up so damn bad after she saw me eating with him, all because he felt bad for me, that after that, the hell that she put me through and the way she ruined my name at that company, I lasted 6 more months and I left. I'll save that for another time, but I mean, that's the kind of shit, that goes on when people let their emotions get the best of them. Because that shit's ridiculous. But anyway. So she let me take her power away by being that upset and by being that angry at me for, getting lunch from somebody. Like, that's what, she let that happen. She devoted a lot of energy to that because I heard about me a lot. And I didn't hear about me until she started her shit. Because before that, me and her were doing real good. And it was like after that, after she saw a man give me a little bit of attention out of pity, she went haywire. So she gave her power away by doing that. When really she could have just said, yeah, fuck him, and ignored it. Because number one, wasn't any of her damn business. But two, she worried herself to death over something dumb like that. When she should have just said, but I mean, that dumb shit like that, don't give your power away over shit. You don't do that. You look at the situation and, you say, I'm just going to control this. I'm just going to control it. I had a handful of boyfriends who put me through a lot. And even though they were wretched, in the end, I blame myself because I let it happen. So I do blame myself for that. I let that shit slide. It was because I hated myself. And I thought I didn't deserve better. But I got a lot of shit treatment and I let it slide. I let it go. Until finally I started breaking up with them now, and I started breaking up with those guys and it blew up. Those guys, they blow up when the moment that when they witness you realize that you don't have to go along with it anymore. As soon as they see you snap out of it and you start telling them to get out, they lose their minds because they're losing control. That's the situation where you need to say, you know what, I'm not going to live like this anymore. I'm going to take control of this situation and get what I want, which is peace of mind. Peace. And you just put your foot down and tell them that it's time to go. And you do whatever you need to do to get them out. I had to go to the courthouse, more than once. I had to go to the courthouse to get men away from me, and do some energy work to protect myself, and everything in between. And it just has to be done. But you do shit. You just have to do that. Sometimes you just have to put your foot down. You can't let something worry you to death like that. It's just not going to work. You come from the most powerful thing in existence. Why the hell would you let yourself fret and worry that much over some other idiot who probably doesn't even know what they're doing anyway? Who calls themselves, coming into your life and doing whatever. Fuck that. Take control of your life. Just tell yourself, it's just a matter of developing the mentality. And you have to tell yourself this all the time. You have to get in the habit of it all the time and just train yourself. If you have to write it down and paste it on the wall so you can see it every day, do that. If you have to write it on your hand so you can see it every day, do that. But get in the habit of telling yourself, I'm going to take control of this. Regardless. Just no matter what, I'm going to take control. And you will have most situations work out in your favor, especially when somebody's trying to screw you over. So don't let people, make you think that they're just going to lay down the law and you're not going to be able to do anything about it. That's not the case. If I come up with anything more profound, I guess I'll make a part 2 to this video. But for the time being, right now, that's what's in my mind is all the people I see that think that they can't do something about a situation. You have the first step to fixing that is telling yourself that you are in control. And I know that's hard because it's not what you're used to thinking. And it's not what we're taught. But that's because if we did start thinking that way, we'd be very powerful. And the people that teach us that we don't have any control are the ones who want to maintain their control over us. And that's no way to live. Like, to hell with that. So, and as you get used to that, telling yourself that you're going to take control of a situation, as you get used to that and that turns into a real habit and it turns into your real mindset and you really train yourself that way and it gets to where it sinks in and that starts to be like who you are, you will see things work in your favor more and more. And it just kind of happen naturally, and it'll be less and less effort, because that's the point I'm at now. Less and less effort. And you'll just think, you know what? Nah, I'm taking control of this. And you will come out on top. And there's more examples that I can think of. It just take me some, I need the time, to think about it and let it come to me. But there's all kinds of situations where you'll eventually get what you want out of something. Or if it comes down to it, put it this way, you'll get what's meant to be. There were jobs I got fired from. Like, there were times when I was wishing a coworker would just get out of my hair. I'd either get fired at some point or I would find another job and move on to something else, and then that coworker would be out of my hair. So stuff happens in weird ways like that. But people have got to get in the habit of telling themselves that they've got more power than they think they have, because this thing where we fret over little shit, or big shit, just because somebody tells you something you don't want to hear does not mean that that's what it is. It does not mean that that's the final rule. That's not it. So I'll probably go into this a little bit deeper later, but I just wanted to put that out there. So, if you have any questions or whatever, you can message me or comment. And, if you have any ideas you want to add to that, that's cool too. But I just thought I would say that. So thanks for tuning in and listening, and hope that helps. So have a good night.